Most teenagers are sitting on a gold mine and have absolutely no idea. Right now, at this very moment, there are kids between the ages of 13 and 19 making anywhere from $300 to $3,000 a month from their bedroom, after school, on weekends, between homework and everything else life throws at them. And they're not doing anything that requires a degree, a loan, a business license, or a single permission slip from anyone. But here's the part that should really get your attention. The teenagers who are building these income streams right now, in 2026, are going to enter adulthood in a completely different financial position than everyone else their age. While their friends are stressing about minimum wage jobs, asking parents for money, and wondering how they're going to afford their first apartment, these kids are going to have savings, skills, and income sources that most adults spent years trying to figure out. The gap is already opening, and it's only going to get wider. Now, before we go any further, let's be honest about something. If you've ever searched online for ways teenagers can make money, you've probably come across the same recycled garbage. Sell lemonade, mow lawns, babysit the neighbors. And look, there's nothing wrong with those things, but we're living in 2026. The internet has completely collapsed the walls between a 13-year-old in a small town and a client in London or New York who's willing to pay real money for real work. The playing field has never been more level, the tools have never been more accessible, and the excuses have genuinely never been weaker. So what this video is going to do is break down 7 actual side hustles, not theoretical, not someday maybe ideas, but real working income streams that busy teenagers can start in 2026 with minimal money, minimal experience, and a realistic amount of time. We're talking about hustles that work around school, that build real skills, and that have the potential to grow into something genuinely life-changing if you take them seriously. And here's what I want you to pay attention to as we go through each one. It's not just about the money. Every single one of these hustles teaches you something about communication, about marketing, about technology, about how money actually moves in the real world. The teenagers who figure this out early don't just make money in the short term. They build a kind of practical intelligence that the education system simply does not teach. So whether you end up turning one of these into a full business or just using it to fund your lifestyle while you're in school, you're going to come out ahead every single time. Let's get into it. The first one is something that might surprise you because most people still think of it as something only adults do professionally. So whether you end up turning one of these into a full business or just using it to fund your lifestyle while you're in school, you're going to come out ahead every single time. Let's get into it. The first one is something that might surprise you because most people still think of it as something only adults do professionally. We're talking about freelance writing and content creation, and specifically, writing for small businesses online. Here's the reality of the current market. There are millions of small businesses, local service companies, restaurants, gyms, law firms, real estate agencies, and e-commerce stores that desperately need written content for their websites, their blogs, their email newsletters, and their social media pages. They know they need it. They don't have time to do it themselves. And the overwhelming majority of them cannot afford to hire a full-time marketing employee. What they can afford is a reliable freelance writer who charges a reasonable rate and delivers clean, usable content on time. And this is where a teenager with decent writing skills, a good work ethic, and a basic understanding of how to use AI tools can walk straight in and fill that gap. Now, to be clear, this is not about using AI to write everything and copy-paste it over. Clients can spot that immediately, and it kills your reputation fast. What the smart teenagers are doing is using AI tools like Claude or ChatGPT as a drafting assistant, something that helps them brainstorm, outline, and speed up their process, while they add the tone, the personality, the edits, and the human quality that actually makes the content good. That combination of human judgment and AI efficiency is genuinely what the market is paying for right now. Getting started doesn't require a portfolio because you can build one for free. Local businesses, small e-commerce stores on Instagram, people selling services in Facebook groups. A simple message saying, "Hey, I write blog content and social media posts for small businesses. Here are some samples. I charge this amount. Would you be interested in a trial piece? That's the whole pitch. And you only need one yes to get started. Rates for beginner freelance writing typically start around $10 to $15 per article and can grow to $50, $75, even $100 per piece as your portfolio builds. For a teenager writing 2 or 3 pieces a week, that adds up fast. The second hustle is one that's been around for a while but has completely transformed in the last 2 years, and most teenagers are approaching it the wrong way. We're talking about selling digital products, and specifically, selling them on platforms that already have the traffic built in. The concept is simple. You create something once, you list it for sale, and it can sell repeatedly without you doing any additional work. That's the closest thing to actual passive income that a teenager without capital can realistically access. Now, the mistake most people make is thinking they need to create something complicated or impressive. They imagine they have to build a full online course or write a 200-page ebook, and they get overwhelmed before they even start. The reality in 2026 is much simpler than that. The digital products that are consistently selling on platforms like Etsy, Gumroad, and Payhip are things like Notion templates, printable planners, study guides, resume templates, social media caption packs, budgeting spreadsheets, and graphic design packs. These are things that take a few hours to create, solve a specific problem for a specific person, and can sell for anywhere from $3 to $30 each. Think about what you already know. Are you a student who's figured out an incredibly organized system for taking notes or managing schoolwork? That's a Notion template that other students will pay for. Are you someone who's good at making things look clean and professional in Canva? That's a set of Instagram templates that a small business owner will buy. The key insight here is that you're not selling your time. You're selling a solution to a problem, packaged in a format that someone can download and use immediately. Set it up correctly, write a decent product description, use the right keywords, and the platform's built-in search engine starts doing the selling for you over time. The third hustle is one that a lot of teenagers have access to, but almost none of them are monetizing correctly, and that's social media management for local businesses. Here's the situation. Walk into almost any local business in your city or town. A hair salon, a landscaping company, a cleaning service, a dentist's office, a coffee shop, and look at their Instagram or Facebook page. Chances are, it hasn't been updated in weeks. The posts look inconsistent, the captions are boring, and there's barely any engagement. They know it's a problem. They just don't know how to fix it, and they definitely don't have time to learn. A teenager who knows how to use Canva, who understands how social media algorithms work, who can write a decent caption and put together a content calendar, that teenager can walk into that situation and genuinely solve a real business problem, and business owners will pay for that. Not hundreds of thousands of dollars, but a consistent monthly retainer of $150 to $500 per month per client is absolutely realistic, even for a beginner. And if you manage 2 or 3 clients at the same time, you're looking at a legitimate monthly income that most adults at their first job would envy. The approach here is to start local and start with proof. Pick one business, maybe one your family uses or one you genuinely like, and offer to manage their social media for free or at a heavily discounted rate for 30 days. Create a simple content plan, make the posts look good, show up consistently, and document the results. Screenshot the before and after of their engagement numbers. That becomes your case study. That's your proof. And with one case study in hand, getting the next client becomes dramatically easier. This is how you build a social media management side hustle from $0 to several $100s a month in a matter of weeks. The fourth hustle is one that's tailor-made for the current moment we're living in, and it's growing faster than almost anything else in the freelance market right now. It's AI prompt engineering and AI tool consulting. And before you roll your eyes and think that sounds too technical, hear this out. Most adults, business owners, managers, executives, content creators, know that AI tools exist and that they should be using them. They've heard about ChatGPT, they've heard about Midjourney, They've heard about automation tools that can save them hours every week, but they have no idea how to actually use these tools effectively. They sit down, type something basic, get a mediocre result, and give up. Teenagers who grew up in this environment have an intuitive advantage here that is genuinely underestimated. They've been experimenting with these tools. They understand how to write effective prompts. They know which tool does what better, and they can translate that knowledge into practical help for someone who's willing to pay for it. Services in this space include things like setting up and optimizing AI workflows for small businesses, creating custom prompt libraries for specific industries, training a business owner or content creator on how to use specific tools, or even just doing done-for-you AI content generation, where you use the tools more effectively than the client can. This is still early enough that competition is low and demand is high. A teenager who positions themselves as someone who helps small businesses actually use AI tools effectively and charges even a modest consulting rate of $25 to $50 an hour is walking into a market that is actively hungry for exactly what they're offering. The fifth hustle is one that rewards creativity and consistency more than anything else, and it's probably the one with the highest long-term ceiling on this entire list. That's building a faceless YouTube channel or a content brand in a niche that has monetization potential. Now, let's be real about something. This one is not a get-rich-quick option. Building a YouTube channel to the point of ad revenue monetization takes time, typically months of consistent effort before you see meaningful money from the platform itself. But here's why it belongs on this list, and why it's worth starting now. First, the channel itself can generate income well before it reaches monetization through affiliate marketing and brand deals. Second, the skills you build, video editing, scripting, thumbnail design, SEO, audience psychology, are some of the most valuable and transferable skills in the entire digital economy. And third, a channel that you start at 15 or 16 and build consistently over 2 or 3 years can be worth significantly more than any other asset you'll own as a young adult. People have sold YouTube channels for tens of thousands of dollars. Some have sold them for hundreds of thousands. That's not a fantasy. That's the documented reality of what this platform can produce when you treat it like a business. The faceless format is particularly suited to teenagers who don't want to be on camera, who value their privacy, or who simply find the behind-the-scenes work more interesting than performing. Faceless channels use AI voiceovers, stock footage, screen recordings, animations, or text on screen, and some of the highest-performing channels on the platform right now don't show a single human face. The key is picking a niche with real monetization potential: personal finance, technology, history, science, health and fitness, business, self-improvement, and then committing to a content schedule and a content quality standard that you can maintain over time. The sixth hustle is one that I genuinely think is the most underrated opportunity for teenagers in 2026, and it's one that almost nobody in this age group is talking about. It's print-on-demand merchandise, but not the generic slap a quote on a t-shirt version that everybody's tried and failed at. The specific angle here is niche, community-based merchandise for groups that already have a passionate audience, but no dedicated merchandise options. Think about the communities you're part of: gaming communities, sports fan groups, hobby communities, local school spirit, specific interest groups. These communities have people who already want to represent their identity, already want to buy merchandise that feels relevant to them, and they'll buy from someone who gets the culture right. Print-on-demand platforms like Printful, Printify, and Redbubble handle all the production and shipping. You design the product, list it, and they do everything else. Your job is to design things that resonate, market them to the right community, and collect the margin. Design skills help, but even a teenager with basic Canva knowledge and a strong understanding of a particular niche community can create products that sell. The key differentiator is specificity. A t-shirt that says, "I love dogs," sells nothing. A t-shirt that perfectly captures an inside joke from a specific gaming community of 80,000 people, that can move real volume. The more specific and culturally accurate your designs are, the higher your conversion rate will be. And the seventh hustle is one that ties everything together and represents, in many ways, the most practical skill a teenager can develop in the current economy. It's video editing and short-form content editing, specifically for content creators, small businesses, and personal brands who are producing content but struggling to keep up with the editing demand. This is one of the fastest-growing freelance services in the world right now, because short-form video has become the dominant content format across every major platform. YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, TikTok, and the creators who are succeeding on these platforms are posting multiple times per week. Very few of them have time to edit everything themselves. A teenager who learns to edit in CapCut, DaVinci Resolve, or even iMovie at a basic level, who can trim footage, add captions, sync music, create clean transitions, and deliver a polished 60-second reel or short, can charge between $20 and $75 per edited video, depending on complexity and experience. And with the volume of content being produced right now, a reliable editor who delivers quickly is more valuable than almost any other creative service a small creator or business can hire. The path in is through practice and portfolio building, exactly like the writing hustle. Edit sample videos. Repurpose your own content. Help a friend who creates content for free initially. Reach out to small YouTubers or Instagram creators who are posting raw content and clearly need editing help. Offer a trial edit. Show them what good editing actually looks like. Get the testimonial. Then charge your rate and build from there. Now, here's the thing about all 7 of these, and it's the most important point in this entire video. The teenagers who are actually making money from these hustles, right now, not someday, share one thing in common that has nothing to do with talent, age, location, or even the specific hustle they chose. It's the decision to start before they feel ready. That's it. That's the entire secret. The instinct most people have, teenagers and adults alike, is to wait until they know more, until they've done more research, until they feel confident, until the moment feels right. And that instinct is exactly what keeps the overwhelming majority of people broke and stuck. Because the confidence doesn't come first. The knowledge doesn't come first. The results don't come first. Action comes first. And then everything else follows from that. Think about what we've actually covered here. Freelance writing that pays per piece and builds a portfolio with every job. Digital products that you create once and sell indefinitely. Social media management that gives local businesses exactly what they need and pays you a consistent monthly retainer. AI tool consulting that leverages an intuitive advantage that teenagers already have. Faceless YouTube channels that build real assets over time. Print-on-demand merchandise that serves niche communities who already want to buy. And video editing that plugs into one of the fastest-growing content economies in the world. 7 real, working, accessible income streams that don't require a single thing except a device, an internet connection, and the decision to actually show up. The financial system that most people grow up in is designed to keep you dependent. Dependent on a single paycheck. Dependent on someone else's decision about whether you deserve a raise. Dependent on a system that rewards compliance more than capability. And the teenagers who break that dependency early, even partially, even imperfectly, are the ones who spend the rest of their lives with more options, more freedom, and more control over what their life actually looks like. You don't need to pick all 7 of these. You don't need to start 3. You need to pick 1. The one that matches your current skills the most, or the one that excites you the most. And you need to spend the next 30 days actually doing something with it. Not planning, not researching more, not waiting for a better moment. Doing. 1 email sent to a potential client. 1 digital product listed. 1 sample piece of content created and shared. 1 edited video delivered. The gap between where you are now and where you want to be is not made of information. It's made of action. The teenagers who understand this early don't just build income, they build a completely different relationship with what's possible for them. And that changes everything. Not just now, but for decades to come. Start today. Not tomorrow. Today.